The Board of License Dietitian meeting is convening at 9:03 a.m. on October 9th, 2024. This meeting is being held in person and by a Microsoft Teams video conference and is being recorded. The recording will be posted to the internet for public viewing. The Health Licensing Office asks that individuals attending through the team keep your phone muted and cameras off during the entire meeting until you're given an opportunity to comment during the public and interested parties feedback period, if indicated on agenda. Please do not use chat feature during meetings. I will now call roll. Julia Brandner, here. Ras Kegel?
Here.
Absent. Jessica Bennett?
Yulia, I think you said my last name, Pavlinac here. You guys are really breaking up for me. Maybe I'll go off camera and see if it helps. What do you think?
Let's try that.
Yeah, let's
Okay.
try that.
You're breaking up too. Thank you.
Yeah, so
Okay.
I'm not being invisible on purpose, but you're breaking up. Thanks.
Thank you, Jessie. So Jessie's here. Danica Offlet?
Here.
Graham McFarland? Graham, I think I've seen you. Are you here? You might be.
I'm here, kind of breaking up as well, so I was jumping off of camera.
Okay. Hi, Graham. Kimberly Queen?
Hi.
I'm here. Yes.
Members, when you wish to speak, please state your last name for the record. Board members are asked not to use chat feature during the meetings. Public members wishing to speak must first sign in on the roster sheet available. For public members and teams, please email Josh Page at Josh.Page, spelled P-A-G-E, at OHA.Oregon.gov, and provide your first and last name. Public interested party feedback may be heard during the public interested parties feedback period when indicated on agenda. Everyone is asked to use appropriate language, manners, and protocols in conducting board business. This meeting is called to order.
Hi, good morning, Chair. Welcome to HLO. Russ, welcome. My name is Bob Bothwell. I'm the director here at the Health Licensing Office. First item on the agenda is to approve the agenda, and Chair, I would like to amend the agenda and number 4, executive session, remove executive session for today.
Thank you, Bob. Would like to make a motion to approve the agenda? Bessie, a second?
No, sorry, Yulia. I didn't want. I actually had a question. I can wait till the motion is seconded before I ask, but I have a question.
Okay, who would like to make a motion to approve the agenda?
Russ Kegel.
Moved.
Second.
Second? Do you have a second? I think it heard. Just say the question. She did not make a motion. So we
Right.
have Russ making a motion. We need a second.
Can we get one of the board members to make a second on the motion to approve the agenda?
This is Pavlinac. I'll make that second because the only way we can talk is if there's a second about it.
Any
Yes.
discussion? Jesse, you had a comment.
I did. I guess I am wondering why we're removing it. And it's
We'll call roll for approval of the agenda.
Yes, we need to make a roll call. Oh, thank you. Oh, the video is very helpful. Thank you. Roll call. Julia Brandner, aye. Russ?
I'm confused.
Okay, all right,
Jesse,
go ahead
Jesse,
for conversation.
Jesse, you had a comment about the agenda?
I did.
Okay, I apologize. I misunderstood you.
Yeah.
What did-
Yeah, I would like a rationale while we're removing the executive session.
So, if we pulled it, we're still working on the matter that was gonna be discussed. And it's not ready for the board. So we removed it, but we will call the board, a special board meeting once, we have everything ready for the board. And we're not going to wait until the next board meeting next year. We'll hopefully have it within the next month or so.
Yeah, Jesse? If she, internet is breaking up for her.
We have a second person on there. Other than Jesse.
Jesse, were you able to hear Bob? How about other board members? Were you able to hear Bob's answer?
I
About the
was, yes.
Thank you, Graham.
Yes.
Jesse come back in now.
Let's share.
Jesse, are you with us?
I wanted to suggest, I don't know, that should
Is
be.
she?
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm here. I'm here. I'm
Okay.
here.
Did you hear what I shared?
No, I did not. But please, Bob.
Okay, so the executive session was removed from the agenda. The board wants to, our HLO wants to provide the board with all the information, so we're not done gathering the information. Once we have that, I'll talk to you, Rhea, we'll get a special board meeting together to have that discussion. HLO is just not ready to have that discussion at this time.
Thank you for that. May I make a comment, Yulia, or do I need to wait?
No, go ahead, Jesse, go ahead.
So Bob, can the board want to go into executive session and discuss something else besides why you pulled that?
This is Heather.
Heather, hi, good morning.
Good morning. We're not able to go into executive session for anything that is not provided on the agenda. That is one of the laws for public meetings, is that you have to notice things. And so what's on the agenda is an executive session for legal advice. And so that would be the only way we would be able to do an executive session at this particular meeting today. And since that's been pulled, we can't do an executive session.
Heather, thanks for that clarification. I did not know that, or else I would have contacted somebody earlier.
So Jesse, do you have, I'll have Josh send you my phone number, and then after the board meeting, we can have a conversation.
Okay, that's
you-
perfect. That's perfect.
Okay.
I just want everybody also to know that our national meeting was during the time we got all this information, and I got home at midnight last night. So
Okay.
that's why I've not kind of gotten back to you, Bob, but I'd love your number if I could. Thanks.
Yeah, you know, send it to her, Josh. Also, okay, so we need to move on and get the agenda approved.
Okay, all in favor, so Russ, approve the agenda.
We have a second for the agenda.
Yes, we do.
Is that Graham?
It was,
Yes, I'll second it.
okay, Russ?
Okay.
I, okay, Sarah, absent, Jesse?
Aye, but Graham made the motion and I seconded, just to get the minutes straight.
Okay.
Thank you.
Danica?
Hi.
Graham? Graham?
Yes,
Kimberly?
Aye.
Thank you, the motion has been carried.
Okay, so next item on the agenda is introductions. So we have two new board members. So if Dr. Queen could come on screen if you can and introduce yourself to the board.
Good morning. Hi, I'm Dr. Kimberly Queen. I'm a diplomate with the American Clinical Board of Nutrition. I am a chiropractic physician and a certified nutrition specialist. I also am a licensed dietitian, And I currently am an associate professor at National University of Natural Medicine, where I teach in the master's and bachelor's degree program for nutrition.
Welcome, Dr. Queen.
Thank you.
Graham?
Hi, my name is Graham McPartland. I am down in Southern Oregon. I've been practicing optometry here for the last 15 years. Been practicing for a total of close to 20 years now. And excited to be a part of the board. So thank you guys.
Welcome to Graham. Welcome.
So if we can,
Thank you.
we'll do the board members. So Julia will introduce yourself, please.
I'm Julia Brogdorf. I'm a dietitian and I'm also a psychotherapist practicing in private practice here in Hillsborough. This is my second term on the board and I am from Ukraine, oftentimes travel to Ukraine to provide support to those defending our nation.
Thank you.
Russ Cagle, I'm a professor or emeritus from Willamette University, PhD in human anatomy and an athletic trainer.
Jesse?
Yes, Jesse Pavlnak. I'm a registered dietitian nutrition and a licensed dietitian. Currently an adjunct instructor at Oregon Health Sciences University, Oregon Institute of Technology, Oregon State University, and Rutgers University. And I retired from being the manager of all the clinical dietitians at OHSU a few years ago.
Thank you. Danica?
Hi,
We lost you. Danica, are you there?
Let's come back to Danica.
Yes.
hi, I'm Danica. I'm a registered dietitian in a private practice down here in Eugene.
Good morning. Thank you, everybody.
The telephone number 503, I wonder that Jesse's other call is not muted. Can you mute one of those numbers, please? Thanks.
Okay,
All right. We are going to approval of the meeting dates. Well, could you take that?
sure. Happy to do that. So the next item on the agenda is the approval of the meeting dates. So 2025 meeting dates are 9 a.m. April 16th and 9 a.m. October 8th at the board. And take a look at those dates, see if they're locked on their personal calendars.
Any discussion on these? That's Wednesday, right?
I'm gonna guess. Let's see here.
Yes, they are Wednesdays.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve those dates.
Wait a second.
And that's Kimberly.
Russ Cagle, second.
Yes.
Okay. Let's take a call. Giggle.
All right.
Jesse?
Aye. Pavlnak, aye, sorry.
Danica?
Hi,
Graham?
Aye.
Kimberly?
Queen, aye.
Jared, you also have to call yourself.
Proctor, aye.
Thank you. All right,
The motion is in here. If you have the dates for the next
yes.
year. Fourth. Bob, you're back to you.
Yes, thank you. Okay, the next item on the agenda is discussion of chair and vice chair. Excuse me, chair. Currently it's Yulia. Yulia's in her second term. It expires April 20th of 2025. And she's unable to reappoint. Jesse's in the current first term and can reappoint. It expires June 29 of 2026. Kimberly is in a first term. Her term expires April 30, 2028, and can reappoint. Danica is also in a first term. It expires March 28 of 27 and can appoint. Russ Cagle is in the second term. It expires May 31 of 25 and cannot reappoint. And Graham McPartland is in a first term and reappoint. It expires April 9 of 2028 and can reappoint. So we're gonna read those dates to the board. Is Julia, I mean, the board could choose her to continue as chair, but soon after her
Next
appointment,
meeting.
her appointment would be over.
Yeah.
So is there some discussion on a new chair? I open the floor to the board.
I'm happy to serve for Phil. My term is expiring. However, if somebody would like to step forward as a chair starting 2025, I'm very happy to welcome that as well. Otherwise, I'll be happy to serve for April.
Claire, I think under the circumstances of the forthcoming meeting, I'd rather have, Yana, continue as chair. And then appoint somebody at the April 16th meeting.
Jesse, do you have a comment?
Yes, so. Well, I'll defer to Russ. I'll make my comment later, maybe.
So Russ has made a motion to keep Yulia as the chair until after the 2025 meeting. Is there a second, or is there additional discussion or a different nomination?
So,
Jesse?
yeah, thank you. So I always think there's value to having overlapping leadership. And then, so since Julia leaves right after that, then you have no kind of overlapping leadership. I realize we can't discuss stuff because it would be considered a board meeting outside of here, but I do think that there's some value of overlapping leadership.
So, if my understanding is correct, we can go ahead and nominate a new chair that would take over, at the April board meeting. And then shortly after that, Julia's, she may be on the board until replaced, but,
Not as the chair,
excuse me?
but not as the
But,
chair.
yeah, exactly, but not as the chair.
We have, right now we have one motion, right from.
Russ made a motion to
Yes.
keep Julia.
Do we have any other, propositions right now for Jesse? Or who, do you have anyone to nominate for chair?
I'll second Russ's motion.
Kimberly?
This is Queen.
Thank you.
Any other nominations?
So I'm sorry, it's, you know me, I have a lot of questions. So the motion is, and Yulia, you didn't recognize me, excuse me.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry. So the
Yeah.
motion is to have you continue through the April 2025 meeting. And then after this motion, then there could be motions for electing a chair once you step down. Is that where we're at?
That's part of the discussion right now. We have a motion. You brought, Paulina, you brought to the table a possibility of having overlapping leadership. So is there, do you have a nomination? Do you want to put forward a nomination? Or did you want just to make a comment about the suggestion of overlapping leadership? What, any other board members, any suggestions, thoughts?
Like Jesse has her hand.
So if we're
Pavlina?
looking, thank you, Pavlinak here. So if you're looking for people who are willing to serve as chair after you step down after your illustrious 2 terms, I'd be willing to do that. But if you're not looking for that now, I'm still confused about the motion.
So we can, and so Heather, if you're still on the line, can use some clarification. It doesn't say we can have multiple chairs, so are we in good shape to nominate a new chair and vice chair that will begin in 2025, correct? And Yulia, the current chair, would be chair until that time.
So you can do that. That is permissible for this board. But I too am unclear exactly. I know there's been discussion, but I'm unclear what the motion is. So yes, you could have the current chair stay, make a motion to have the current chair stay the chair until she is off of the board. And then you could leave it at that, or you could say, we have the current chair be the chair until she's off the board. And then we also nominate a particular person to take over once she is off the board. So you can do both of that. So a variety of things that you can do.
Okay. So if we take care of it all right now, we nominate Yulia to, well, actually, we would do a nomination of the new chair, and then Yulia would remain chair regardless until the next board meeting.
Yeah, I would make sure that it's clear who is going to preside over the April meeting, whether it would be the current chair or the new chair. And then I would include in the motion that the current chair be nominated for the 2025 year until she is off the board. That way it's clear.
Right.
Is anyone interested in making a motion? Ralph, would you like to amend your motion?
I'll amend my motion for election of a new chair for 2025 with the current chair expiring on April 16th.
Does it mean I'm the chair of the 16 or the?
Yeah,
until the-
I talked to the insurance company yesterday, and they're actually
Somebody
going to
mute their
have
microphone,
it
please.
towed to you guys.
While we're talking about insurance company, mute the microphone, please.
So typically, this is Bob and for the board. Typically, the reason why it's confusing is because the overlapping in leadership. So typically we would elect a new chair, and then at the next year meeting, that new chair would preside.
Okay.
So I just want to make sure.
So still a good point here. Then.
So in my understanding, the motion is being made that Julia, the current chair, would remain chair through the first meeting of 2025, which is
16th.
April 16th.
Yeah.
And then following those meetings, is there a nomination of somebody to be the chair?
Can I then?
Yeah. Oh,
I
wait,
will-
can Julia nominate? No, she's the chair. You can't.
Can I nominate Jesse? Okay.
No.
But just as, I'm gonna make a comment to the board members can somebody nominate, I think Jesse, so did you nominate yourself for the chair?
So Jesse can nominate herself for
Okay,
sure.
okay.
Yes.
Yeah,
Or
I
anybody-
sort of, yeah, I sort of did, but you know, that's not my comfort zone. Being
Okay.
self-nomination.
But I'll be here working with you, so you'd be in good shape, or somebody would be. So did I hear Jesse nominated for the
Chair,
chair for 2025?
after April 16th, October meeting.
And then a second for that motion.
But does Ross need to finish saying all this?
I can do it.
Okay. Do we have a second? Or
This is Queen. I will second the motion.
motion has been made with second, I'm gonna call the roll, Proctor, aye.
Chair, we're not done.
Oh, sorry,
So then we need somebody, we need a motion for a vice chair.
do we need to do it separately?
We can do it together.
We
Yeah.
want to do it all together, okay. Can I nominate it? Okay, is there any interest of who would like to serve as the vice chair? After Jesse becomes the chair.
And this is Bob, for, those of you who don't know, the vice chair would just step in, should a chair not be available to, attend a meeting. And again, HLO would be here to ensure that it goes as smoothly as possible.
We have Danica, Graham, and Kimberly who currently present. Anyone of you has interest to serve as a vice chair for 2025?
I would be willing to. This is
Who's I?
Danica. This is Danica. I would be willing to.
Okay, a motion has been made to make Danica vice chair. And can we get a second for that?
I'll second it. Here you go, second.
Okay,
Thank you.
so, a motion has been made to have the current chair remain the chair through the April 16, 2025 board meeting. Jesse Pavinak would become chair after the 2025 board meeting, after the April 16, 2025 board meeting. And Danica Ofeld would be vice chair.
After the 16th meeting, okay, after April meeting. After Jessica
After the April
becomes
16,
chair.
2025 board meeting.
Okay,
And
Oh.
the motion was made and seconded. Now call roll, please.
and now we call roll. Proctor, aye. Pickle,
Aye.
Kavanagh,
Aye.
Opel,
Aye.
McFarland,
Aye.
Key.
Aye.
Motion has been carried. We have it sorted out.
Okay. Agenda again. Okay, next item on the agenda is the director's report. So to update the board on, license qualifications, specific to the CNS exam. So HLO, has hired a new analyst to, replace, Cynthia Murphy. And they've got their legs under them. We're currently reviewing apps to determine the status of, those applications. And each is being assessed individually, and if needed and likely, we'll bring these applications before the board for recommendations.
Clarification.
Clarification. Russ?
You said CNS.
Nutritionist. Certified nutrition specialist?
Yes. Okay. Versus licensed dietitians.
Yes.
So you were reviewing their qualifications.
Yes.
Okay. Understand.
Okay. The next item on the agenda, if there's no additional discussion on that, would be the board reports. We've in Kimberly. Sorry, I missed
Yes.
your-
That's okay. I had a question, Bob, on when the timing of that decision will be made, and is there a current investigation happening? And is there a time frame when we will hear more about that, so we don't have to wait another 6 months?
Well, we're working on it as fast as we can. Hopefully it's not it shouldn't take 6 months. I wouldn't call it an investigation. We're just doing an analysis of applications and qualifications to bring a product before to review, and if necessary, bring that product to the board.
And what is being vetted particularly? Can that be expressed as to what is being reviewed? And have they vetted the comparison between the examinations, CDR versus the CNS?
I don't believe that has been done yet. But it's just an entire vetting and analysis and analytic process. It can take a little bit of time, but we're pushing it. It's at the top of our list, and we will bring it to the board, or a resolution as soon as possible.
Thank you.
Okay, and before I move on, check in, see if there's any hands up. Seeing none. So since we have some new board members, I'll kind of talk a little bit about our calendar that we use here at HLO with the state. We use fiscal years rather than a calendar year. And a fiscal year runs from July 1 of any particular year till June 30 of the following year. So on the license issued report in fiscal year 2025, quarter one, which is July, August, and September, we've issued 464 licenses. And licenses renewed in that time frame as well. We've renewed 622 licenses. These are the dietitian licenses. License by age and gender. There's a good portion of licensees in this profession identify as female. And we have a couple of folks in their 80s maintaining a license. It's fantastic. Licensing trends in quarter one, between quarter four and quarter one, we took on, looks like about 200 licenses. So we've had a substantial increase in quarter one of 2025. And the next slide would be the financials report. The board is sitting pretty good with revenues and expenditures, as well as for the cash balances. We don't want to hoard money as an office or as a board. So we try to keep a pretty safe balance, but a little bit in reserve in case there is an investigation or something that happens where the board may have an unforeseen large expenditure of those funds. Any questions on the director's report?
Thank you, Bob.
Okay, Krampus Shuck, are you online?
I am.
Good morning.
Hello,
Good.
everybody. Good.
Sorry, I was just saying, you want to talk about the regulatory report, and because we have new board members, kind of give a little insight into the regulatory world?
Sure. So my name is Trampus Shuck. I'm the interim regulatory manager here at the Health Licensing Office. I'm here to talk about the regulatory report and then also just regulatory in general. So for this board, pretty much regulatory is mostly complaint based. So if the kind of process is somebody makes a complaint, they file a complaint against a licensed dietitian or somebody who's maybe reporting to be a licensed, it could be an unlicensed person or that kind of thing. They'll file that complaint and we'll open it and we'll go through the process of vetting whether or not it kind of meets certain thresholds, whether or not there's a violation that's alleged in the complaint, and if it's up to the level of being a valid complaint in kind of those regards, whether we have jurisdiction, that kind of thing. Then we open it and assign it to an investigator, and they go through the process of an investigation. At HLO, we have a investigative protocol, but it's pretty much what you could kind of expect from an investigation. We'll get records, we'll talk to witnesses, we'll talk to the respondent, that kind of thing. And then once it's been investigated and gone through that process, it comes to me. And then if we have any, if there's any kind of discipline that maybe or any kind of violations that are out there that we find, we'll bring it to the board, and the board can look at it and make some decisions as well. So we get the board involved in the process as well. We don't have any of those cases that are coming for you today, or you would have a special executive session for that. And as you can see here, we've got 2 biennium on this regulatory report. It's going to show open and closed status and then total. So for the 2023 biennium, we had 4 cases come in for that 2-year period. So we don't get a lot of complaints on this board as well. So you can see 4 in 2 years is not a whole lot. And 1 of those is still being investigated. And then we have the current biennium that we're in. We also had 4 come in, but we're only about halfway through. So we could expect to see a little bit more this biennium for whatever reason. And all 4 of those are still currently being looked at in the open status. Open status, so I'll give a little open and closed may seem pretty simple terms, but when you're talking about open and closed in this, cases can be in a lot of various states throughout the time that they're being worked or being looked at or being dealt with. Open in this in this context means that it's been open, it's either being investigated, it's either being looked at by me, like through the review process, or it's waiting for the board to look at. So it's kind of, it can go through that whole gamut with it still being open. It doesn't mean that it's still being investigated, but it means that it's in some stage. We don't have any cases like that, and then closed just means that it's either been closed because there was no violations, the board made a determination, and we've already sent out the notice, that kind of thing. So, but complaints by type, we got licensing concerns, services provided. They all kind of break down in those licensing concerns, or usually somebody either being inactive or somebody's unlicensed and using the title or whatnot. And then complainants by type, you can see here on the 8, 1 was from a client, and then 7 are from other sources. So this could be from other dietitians, those could be from some third party, those could be some medical report, that kind of thing. So does anybody have any questions about? Yeah.
It sounds like we're losing you. Can you repeat what you just said, please?
What I said about what?
Okay, so it sounds like we lost him. Does anybody have any questions with regards to the regulatory report or anything regulatory related?
Is there any question? Yeah. Can you hear me?
You can now.
Okay. Yeah. Are there any questions with regards to regulatory or this report or anything like that in general that I might be able to answer?
Pamela, sorry.
Just clarification, because again, you were breaking up a bit. You said only the ones, which ones come to the board? The unresolved ones? Is that
So-
correct?
If
I think we lost him.
definitely if can
Hey,
you
Trappist, can you come down to the boardroom, please?
is sure.
Just run down here. Sorry, we'll get him down here. He's just a couple steps away.
Thank you.
Unless he stops for coffee on the way. There he is. Sorry, you were all garbled.
Oh, hi. All right. So the question was, what cases come to the board? So, cases will come to the board, definitely if the investigation, finds that there's some type of violation. So if, you know, if there's some practice standard violation, or something like that, we're going to bring that to the board to look at because the board is gonna have to, you know, give us their advice on what they would like us to do about it, whether that be, you know, take some kind of disciplinary action or not, and what that disciplinary action might be. The other reason it may come to the board is if we're just not 100%, you know, like some things are very clear cut, like, oh, this just didn't happen. But sometimes something happened and we're not subject matter experts, not licensed dietitians. We're investigators and administrators of this program. So if we need that guidance, we'll bring it to the board and you can help us make that determination as to whether or not you think that there was a violation. So in cases where it's super clear cut, that may not come to the board if it's just going to be closed and it's super clear cut. But anything that's kind of has some question marks still attached to it, or that we know there's a violation, that's going to come to the board and we'll talk about those in the executive session. And then we would come out of executive session and we would make a vote and determination out in public session as to what was going to happen. So.
What, Kegel question?
Sure.
How often do you actually have one of the dietitians go onto the site of a reported violation?
Can you clarify? I'm not following.
Can you follow me?
No, go on site. For what site?
Okay, if the violation is at a particular institution,
Okay.
okay? And we're just getting stuff on paper, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. What if we would prefer that some experts, as dietitians, would go on site and further investigate?
Go to the institution.
Yeah.
We don't have that kind of authority. We can subpoena records, and we definitely, if we have a case that's concerning enough, we would, and we probably should do that anyway. It's difficult to get subject matter experts anymore, but, do we have one for the dietitians?
Not for licensed dietitians,
No, we
you
need
know,
one.
but. Yeah, we haven't had a lot of that type of case where going on site, you know, where the type of situation is we need to go look at something on site. I can't think of a case that's happened, or that's
Well,
come,
It did happen with that athletic trainer.
with athletic trainer. Yeah, Yeah, it hasn't happened. It hasn't happened with licensed dietitians at this point. Most of the type of complaints that we would get on a licensed dietitian regarding like services provided, that type of thing, unprofessional conduct. Those are the type of things that so far it has been, you've been able to kind of investigate those or thoroughly investigate those either through interviews, combination of interviews and records and talking to people that, you know, that were involved or witnesses. So we haven't had a lot of those like on-site, like cosmetology and body art and some of the other groups that we regulate have a lot of safety and sanitation stuff, even some of the even some like hearing aid specialists or denture technologists where they're making things and there's a lot of safety and sanitation involved in that profession will actually sometimes go on site. And definitely with cosmetology and body art, we have a routine process for going and doing inspections in those facilities, and we have kind of special authority. We can do those things, but we don't have programs for other ones that aren't there. You know, we have to do those kind of ad hoc each one. So, but licensed dietitians, we haven't had that come up. It's mostly been able to be resolved through interviews and records, things like that. So.
Elena, you had another comment?
Question. So when you said you're looking at standards of practice, are you looking at the Code of Ethics? That the National Code of Ethics for Dietitians? Are you looking at the 2024 Standards of Practice for Dietitians? Are you looking at the focused standards of practice for certain things like oncology, pediatrics, etc.? What are you looking at to make sure they're following the standards of practice?
Well, we definitely would look at, you know, the administrative rules that we have. We also would look at any of the ethics standards that have been adopted by the board. So if there's, you know, if we have an ethical standard, again, we haven't had a lot of those situations. And in those situations where it starts reaching beyond that type of thing, when we start talking about community standards and ethics regarding the specific aspects of the practice of that, you know, like of the licensed dietitians, we would bring those to the board at some point, maybe even before we end the investigation, so we could get your input and your guidance on, you know, where if we're going down the right path. So.
But since all licensed dietitians, if they are truly dietitians, have to be registered dietitians and they're held by the National Code of Ethics by the Commission on Dietetic Registration, that's why I'm getting at is that there's a lot tied to our license because it's all tied or was meant to be tied to be a registered dietitian, and all those documents, you could lose your registration, therefore you could lose your license if you didn't follow the National Code of Ethics, for example.
Under clarification, to the best of my understanding, you do not have to be a registered dietitian to be licensed dietitian in the state of Oregon.
That's how it was set up when I was involved in that 30 years ago. That's how the law reads.
But perhaps you can weigh in, because from what my understanding is that registration with CDR is not required for the licensure in Oregon. You need to meet certain criteria.
That's the exam that was adopted.
Right, but RD or RDM is not required to be LD in Oregon.
No, when you apply for your license, you have to have a notarized copy of your registration exam.
Yes.
Unless it's through reciprocity.
Well, reciprocity if you're a licensed dietitian or certified dietitian someplace else, but yes.
Okay, so we've adopted, so in rule, it's the, we've adopted the CDR as
Correct.
the exam. And then to take a few steps back about standards of conduct. So in rule, what was adopted was the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics Code of Ethics.
Correct.
And profession of dietetics, for the profession of dietetics. So I'm taking this back for a second to answer another part of the question is to Jesse's question is, yeah, we do, that's been adopted in rule. for those ethics. As far as the tests go, I believe, and I hope I'm not mistaken, but I believe it was CER that was adopted.
Queen had a question?
Yep.
Hold on,
So, okay, so, and let's have a timeout for a second. So we're doing the regulatory report. So, if we're done with the regulatory report, then we can move on, and then there's some other board business and some things that we can take up for a future board meeting.
Heather wanted to say something.
Heather, I'm sorry, I didn't see you. Go ahead.
No problem. I was just gonna jump in. The rule that the board has adopted for application requirements, which sets out the different pathways for licensure, sets out 3 different ways. That's at 834-030-0000. So board members could take a look at that rule and see the 3 different pathways.
Thank you, Heather.
Thank you. Okay, any questions, any additional questions for Trampus on the regulatory report? Okay. Next item on the agenda, Chair, is public
Now the
input party.
teacher's coming. Are
Yes.
you ready to launch?
It,
Is it with the?
If you're ready.
Reports?
we're done with reports, yes.
Okay. Okay, at this time, the Board of Licensed Dietitian will hear public and interested parties comment feedback. Members of the public, please wait until you have been recognized. Once recognized, please state your name and affiliation to the board for the record.
This is Bob. So, members of the public that, want to make comment, please ensure that you've, sent, your information to Josh Page at josh.page@oha.oregon.gov. If you raise your hand, we'll call on you, and please identify yourself and your affiliation. To the board members, there were some public records received, public comment received, and some of those made it to you, and we'll post the others to the website.
First, I believe.
Okay,
Julie?
Hi, can everybody hear me?
yes, go ahead.
Okay, so the public statement that I submitted, I guess I'll just read it as follows. As my background, I was an occupational therapist for 15 years, and I understand the importance of regulation, compliance, practice, and education standards. And like an RD as an occupational therapist, we also have to attend an accredited program, did a 6-month internship, and then sat for the national exam. Personally, and as a prior clinician in healthcare, I also value transparency, and I can only speak for myself, but I would like to know what the end goal is regarding restriction of licensure and practice for current and future CNS nutrition professionals. Is the end goal to negate any path to becoming a nutrition professional other than an RD? Or is the end goal to find common ground and mutual respect? Because like myself and other students who are pursuing this route, we chose this route because it's different. It's a different perspective than the traditional Western medicine, USDA, FDA-based RD programs. Many of us have spent enormous time, money, have accrued debt pursuing the CNS track. And my concern is continuing down this track if the goal is to negate any other way of becoming a nutrition professional other than RD. So I'm just asking, as a previous healthcare professional and future healthcare professional, what is the end goal of continuing to restrict licensure in the state of Oregon for CNSs?
Thank you, Julie. Well, can we ask people to put in videos when they make comments?
Sure. Public, as you make comments, please don't be afraid to come on video at the request of the chair. Next on the list is
Thank you.
Amy Smith.
Amy?
Good morning. Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. My name is Amy Smith. I'm the Senior Director of Certifications and Advocacy for the American Nutrition Association and the Board for the Certification of Nutrition Specialists. Just yesterday, it was brought to our attention that Tina Russell from the Oregon Health Authority is contacting CNSs by phone to inform them that their licenses will be revoked because they did not pass the CDR exam. This information is being conveyed without notice and allowance for a proper hearing. There is no cause consistent with the requirements necessary for revocation of licensure in the Oregon state statutes. Precedence was set when the CNS exam was accepted as stated on the application, and no wrongdoing on the CNS's part has occurred. No valid claim for revocation of licensure exists at this time. Following the most recent board meeting, we submitted a series of documents to Ms. Russell for review, clearly outlining the credentials and values of the CNS designed and the CNS designation compared to the RD, including a comparison of our exams. On December 23rd, in an email, Ms. Russell stated that the materials had yet to be evaluated due to being short-staffed. Thus, it came as a surprise to us on October 8th when CNSs were being told that the CNS exam was not being seen as an equivalent to the RD exam. It is also essential to note that our CNS practitioners are licensed in Oregon through reciprocity, which according to 691.445, licensing without examination based on prior practice or licensure in other states, does not require the passage of the CDR exam. Instead, it says that Health Licensing Office, in consultation with the Board of Licensed Dietitians, may waive the examination requirement and grant a dietitian license to an applicant who presents satisfactory evidence of either current registration as a dietitian with a credentialing body approved by the board, or B, current licensure under the laws of any other state or territory in the United States, if the requirements for licensure of dietitians in
Amy, your microphone got muted.
No. Okay, sorry about that. It was indicated that our CNSs were told that the CNS exam was not found to be equivalent to the RD exam, despite Ms. Russell's admission that the comparison had not been undertaken. The CNS exam is a master's level exam compared to the bachelor level CDR exam. In fact, it is more robust based on several factors, particularly in the depth of content, complexity of knowledge areas, and the focus on clinical and scientific nutrition. The CNS exam places significant emphasis on nutritional biochemistry, nutrients in human health, and medical nutrition therapy. These domains require deep understanding of the biochemical and physiological mechanisms underlying nutrition. It indicates that CNS candidates are trained to approach nutrition from a highly scientific perspective. This is further supported by the CNS's focus on clinical intervention and monitoring, preparing candidates to manage complex cases involving medical nutrition therapy and chronic disease management. The rigorous nature of these topics suggests that CNS practitioners are expected to thoroughly understand how nutrition affects human health at both the cellular and systemic levels. In comparison, while still covering essential nutrition care, the RD exam focuses more heavily on nutrition care for individuals and groups and food service systems. This content suggests a more practical and operational approach to nutrition, preparing RDs for roles in community settings, food service management, and direct patient care. An in-depth comparison will reveal that the CNS examination is advanced, scientifically grounded, and provides the requisite proof of standing along with the CDR exam for organ licensure. The current Oregon law, 691.435, licensing requirements examination under number 3, letter C, states that applicants must have passed an examination prescribed by the office. We request a thorough review of the two exams in comparison, as we are confident that they are more than equivalent. We believe that a comprehensive review will provide a fair assessment of the CNS exam and the equivalency to the RD exam, thereby addressing the concerns of CNS practitioners and ensuring continued recognition of their qualifications. This presumptuous action prior to any evaluation will prove disastrous on two major fronts. First and foremost, this would remove freedom of choice for Oregon residents who are seeking to improve their health with nutrition. Nutrition is the single most important modifiable determinant of health. State residents need more qualified nutritionists to counter the chronic disease epidemic, not a draconian response by this board resulting in a contraction of available care. Secondly, and most crucially, revoking the licenses of these CNSs will result in immediate loss of their livelihoods, their small businesses, and their ability to participate in insurance plans that serve the state's residents. It is unimaginable that the state of Oregon would allow qualified professionals who invested heavily in their chosen field and the health of the state's residents to lose their careers and their ability to help those in need. We request a waiting period while the issue is resolved thoughtfully and thoroughly. Thank you.
The microphone in the conference room is muted.
Sorry about that.
Thank you.
Liz, can you hear us? And we did hear Amy completely.
Thank you.
Liz, are you there?
I think Stephanie, let's go to Stephanie, while Liz is getting on.
I was documenting them, Chair, as we go along.
Okay.
Brittany was next.
Brittany Cry.
Oh, sorry. Okay, thank you.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, come on camera, please. The chair would like, if you're able to.
Yes. Can you see me?
Yeah. Please go ahead.
Okay, sorry, I put the camera on, so we'll see if it pops up. Hi, my name is Brittany Cry. I am a board certified nutrition specialist. I have a Master of Science in Clinical Nutrition and Integrative Health. I have also obtained over 1,000 hours of clinical supervision in a functional nutrition postgraduate internship setting. I also came here today to voice my concern about the state of Oregon not licensing qualified nutritionists. I will say I think my colleagues that spoke before me did a great job outlining the extensive education needed to become a CNS. So I just want to focus on the dangers of not protecting the term nutritionist in the state of Oregon. So by not protecting the term nutritionist, the Oregon Health Authority is not protecting the citizens of Oregon from unqualified persons that can claim the title of nutritionist and provide individuals with personalized nutrition care. In my practice, I've seen numerous clients taking dangerous combinations of supplements and medications, as well as poor advice around food that heightened their eating disorder from people who can claim the title of nutritionist. This is a major disservice to the members of our community, and it does set Oregon back to not license us very qualified professionals. Again, I think my colleagues did a great job outlining why, so I think you have all of the information. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Thank you. Chair, can we see if Liz is back out there? Liz Lipsky, are you available?
Okay. She's trying to get back in.
Oh yeah, she fell off, huh? Okay. Brittany, did you have additional? Your hand's still up.
I'm sorry, I don't know how to put it back down. I accidentally hit it.
Oh, you're fine. Just click your hand
Okay.
again.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right, thank you. Kimberly Queenberry.
Board member Queen?
Yes, thank you. As a CNS and a physician nutritionist, and I was also on the original board for the certified nutrition specialist as the item writing committee member who wrote the CNS examination. And I can attest to how rigorous that exam is. And many physicians were involved in writing that examination. I also would have to point out, if this board decides not to allow CNSs to become licensed dietitians, I would not be on this board, because that would take away my status as a licensed dietitian. And so I would implore you to thoroughly evaluate the rigorousness of the CNS versus the RD. And note that, again, RDs did not have to become a master's degree or have that level of education until just this 2024. So there are many master's degree students in nutrition who have actually been at a higher level than bachelor's degree. And also the values and the integrity of the board through the American Nutrition Association, I assure you, also meets the A&D CDR 2024 standards of practice. So we're always thoroughly investigating and meeting and or exceeding those standards. And so again, there are also many students and or many individuals who would be affected personally by this inability to bill insurance, and their businesses and practices would be affected. Also, CNSs are taking also a holistic approach versus just being in food service RD. We have many who are in public health, many who are also working with other physicians and really affecting the healthcare of Oregon residents. I would also say that the legislative language needs to be modified where other states have updated their language to include nutritionists, and that includes Florida, Illinois, and also that CNSs need to be recognized that education is dietetics education. And I think there's this misconception that we don't do dietetics, and that is a misnomer. We need to make sure that we educate the public and also the boards that we do dietetics, and it's not just reserved specifically for RDs. And it could seem to be or perceived as discriminatory and or exclusionary to only allow RDs. So
join the main room. This meeting is being recorded and or transcribed.
Sorry, there was information that was coming through. So I just wanted to insert that information. I also did receive a call from Tina Russell this morning, who said she was investigating. And I asked if anything was being vetted as far as the exams, and that had not been done yet. So that's why I used that language this morning. And so I just wanted to put that out there. And there was no information that she gave me that the license would be revoked at this point in time. So I think it would be really important for this board to really get down and make a decision, because there's many people who are waiting and on pause. And if this is not a pathway that you're going to allow, then I think there needs to be evidence why it's not going to be allowed. Thank you.
Judah. Evelyn?
Thank you everyone for all that information, and Dr. Queen for your comments. A couple of points of clarification. It's not the A&D anymore. We're the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics. The majority of the dietitians, and I happen to have been the past president of that association, so I can speak with some authority. And everything is coming through CDR, which is an independent accredited body that's not the academy. So if I may, a couple of states have certified nutritionists or licensed nutritionists. And if the state of Oregon wishes to modify its, if you guys wish to get licensure, that sounds fine. Our licensure bill is specifically about dietitians. And to not meet that standard of the legislation is what and I'll admit, I was the one that brought it up last time. And and that's just those couple of things. There's a whole process to go through legislatively to become recognized by the state if you're not a dietitian. Thank you.
Dr. Green?
Thank you, Jesse, for that information. I also just wanted to state, though, if it's in the rules can be changed by the board to make exceptions. And that's what it was perceived as with reciprocity. And so I think that that also can be an avenue that can be modified to allow CNSs to continue to stay licensed and be licensed. And so I think that's another consideration without having to go through the statutes and the legislative process, because that would also delay licensure for CNSs. So if rules can be amended to create an exception, then I think that that could be another avenue. And it also would maybe reduce maybe legal ramifications.
I would like to take a second. Can we ask Heather to step in and read to all of us right now those 3 pathways to licensure in Oregon that she referenced earlier? And then Belenek.
So there is a statute that sets forth the licensure. And then the pathways are in Rule 834-030-0000. There are 3 different pathways. One of those relates to taking a board-approved exam, as well as having evidence of 900 hours of board-approved program of dietetic experience under the supervision of a licensed dietitian. There's also application and fee requirements, but I don't think that's what you're focusing on. Then another pathway is pathway 2, which is a reciprocity pathway. And there, the applicant needs to demonstrate that the requirements to obtain the license in the other state or territory were not less than those of what is set forth in 691-435 statute. And then the third pathway that is set forth in that rule is a person who is currently registered with CDR. So those are spelled out more in detail, and that's in 834-030-0000. So information can be found both in statute, in rule on those pathways. And I would remind the board that we're in public comment.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Heather.
And Jess, I can't get my hand down. I'm sorry. So just ignore it. It won't come off.
Thanks, Jesse. You can click where it says raise hand or.
Yeah, I did. It finally came off. Thank you.
Okay. Then we have Liz, are you there? Over there. She pops in and out. Okay, thank you, everybody. It's been a robust conversation.
Is it anybody else?
I don't see anybody else's hand. Is there anybody else's hand up there? No?
Maybe they popped off again.
Yeah, her hand was up and then I saw
I
her.
think Stephanie was on, okay.
Okay. Thanks again.
Thank you very much, everybody, for your comments, your suggestions, and bringing up your concerns to the board. Any other board business?
So, does the board have something for HLO to do? Like continue vetting, review the exams?
Yes, we would need to have a discussion. That's the other board business. Anybody else would like to make any comments about the request for the administrative support? This issue, any other?
Board.
Well, my request is thank you so much, guys, for your hard work looking into this change and all the new currents that's showing up on the trajectory of nutrition practice in Oregon and here all over the states. Very important element that came up in today's comments, and that what we need to face. And our primary objective is support and the best possible care for the public, and also in relationship to adhering to the statutory options available for us. And we would be grateful if you do take a look at the exam CDR and the CNS exam and the certifications that go into achieving the certification of CNS and its compatibility with ability to provide quality care to Oregonians. And should those, and maybe we can discuss it in very near future, would like to, if possible, to do it in the year 2024, so we can make a ruling on these licenses by the end of this calendar year. We'd be very grateful if you, I know you guys are very, very busy and short-staffed and have a lot of moving pieces. And if at all possible, we would really be grateful to expedite this, to thoroughly look and maybe contact the NA board, certification board for administration of CNS exam to see if to look at the details of that examination, if these professionals could be able to hold the title of licensed dietitian if appropriate. Next, you have the comment.
Hagel here, got a comment. I have some information regarding the exams that I will share with you. The CNS exam and the license dietitian.
Make sure Ann gets it, and Tina, and myself. And if you remember the name, Derek Foltz, Derek Foltz.
Okay.
And send it to us. Thank you.
Tabitha, do you have another comment?
Well, my hand I can't get down, but my only other comment is, maybe we can't go further than this. So this is my naivety, my misunderstanding, is the standards of education. I'm sure both organizations have those too. Anyway.
Thank you.
Yes, I'm sorry if I could raise my hand quickly. I didn't mean to interrupt. Queen, yes. The BCNS, or the Board of CNS, is also accredited by the ACNPE. So just wanted to inject that information also. So it is an accredited body, like the RD CDR exam. So it does have education standards within that, and there are handbooks from the ACNPE that can be reviewed also.
Please be kind to submit whatever information you would like our HLO support to look at. Please be kind to submit to those emails to both Tina, to Ann, to Bob, and to the other person that Bob mentioned. Thank you. Is there any other discussion? Do you have any questions for us?
I think we're good. It sounds like we're going to do a comparison of the exams.
Yes.
And we'll get back to the board hopefully before the end of the year. That's what our goal is.
Okay. That's any others? So.
I see no hands up, Chair.
No, because down to this point, the Board of Licensed Dietitian meeting is going to be adjourned at 10:22 a.m. on October 9th, 2024.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.